now, hooray, we're over here. Welcome, travelers! If you're new here, my name is Brenna. I am your reverse-seared brain DM, and welcome to Tales from the Catacombs. This is our tabletop RPG adventure that we are thrilled to share with you. This game uses the Dungeons&Dragons 5th edition system and rules, and the setting is a homebrew based on the rock album Razia's Shadow by Forgive Durden. Before we get too lost in our adventure, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. We are well over 200 subscribers, which is very, very cool. Also, make sure you like the video. That takes no time at all. Also, leave a little comment below, which helps our algorithms, as we've already had like 2 people come find our channel through algorithms. So help our algorithms by responding to the following question in the comments. What has been your best comeback moment? Without further ado, let's recap. Session 42. Awake, you sleeper. Snow, Beau, and Viola tried different ways of waking up the sleeping beauty Ste'yn, but to no avail. Meanwhile, in this deep slumber, Ste'yn's dreams became a meditative opening for her goddess Atala to finally reach out properly. Ste'yn had many questions, and as Atala began to answer what she could, Snow was able to listen in with his medallion of detect thoughts. There was something Atala was hopeful that Ste'yn would remember. Something important, but terrifying. Something involving a terrible attack. Meanwhile, with time of the essence, Beau managed to rent out a wheelbarrow to carry Ste'yn along so they could keep to their schedule. The Vivere left from the Furbolg colony and towards the great tree where the trouble in the swamp seemed to emanate. They chose to go north to a bridge over the river, because the wheelbarrow would have much more difficulty on the more direct path. They were met with 2 angered ogres, dead set on impeding them. As if strengthened by the sounds of her friends in trouble, Ste'yn pushed through the dream haze. Or was she pulled and awoke to help put an end to the threat? They traveled the rest of the way until the Mirror Lake and the Great Tree were finally in sight. On the way to your destination, what appears to be your destination, I think Beau had a thought that was occurring to him. I know at the end of our last
messaged Bren
session,
because I had a thought because we wrapped up last session with us walking. And I realized there would have been something that he would have said when we were walking and not just walked silently to where we were going.
You had noticed as you were approaching your destination, the ground was getting a little more sturdy, more forest-like than even swamp-like. Still very humid, moist, swampy area as thoughts occur for all of you.
So, I may have jumped the gun a little bit, saying we have to go up to Ustrom immediately. We have some time. I also realized tomorrow is the last day of the festival, which I think that woman said Rosita was doing something that day, right?
Right.
And we haven't heard from Nora, so we should probably have What's-His-Face teleport us there tomorrow.
Back to Grati Minnow then?
Yes.
So why do we not need to go to Ustrom?
I didn't say we don't need to go there. I'm saying I think we have time.
What changed?
I said I got a little bit excited, so was hopping the gun a little bit.
I think he's asking what do you mean by jumping the gun a little bit? What's causing you to realize or think that you're jumping the gun?
Not as urgent as you originally thought.
Well, it's still a grave matter. It's just probably not gonna happen tomorrow.
Which the end of the festival will.
Yes.
Is what you're realizing.
If there was no festival thing, I would say we go straight there.
Should we check in with Nora and see how things are going?
Well, she could have checked in with us by now.
I don't know how these things work and who can do what when.
Well, she personally couldn't, but her little boy toy that follows her everywhere could have.
Yeah, him.
I can also reach out to her tonight after we take care of whatever it is we need to here. And I can try to get a lay of the land.
That sounds fine.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
I can also try to check in at Ustrom and see if there's anything happening there that would be signs of something graver starting. than we might be aware of.
I would say not start all the residents there.
Right.
What?
Nothing. Understood.
Insight check.
That was a loaded.
I got 16.
I just want dice rolling.
I got a 17
Oh.
total.
Psionic.
Would have been a 21, but I gotta subtract 4 from it.
Psionic. I am now at a. Wait, what did I say before? I am now at an 18 with psionic power.
Daggum. What is he noting as you quickly jump to, oh, nothing?
That is probably not telling the whole truth there.
Did you do something?
Wow.
Fine, do something.
Did you phone a friend or something?
No.
Did you contact anyone there?
I reached out to my brother. Tell him to get my niece and nephew safe.
Oh, how's he doing?
We're not talking about it.
You're not talking about it, or he's not talking about it?
We're not talking about it.
I think all of the above.
Nobody is talking about it.
So not well.
Exactly.
fine.
Can you at least tell me how you phrased it?
I said something's coming. Told him to take his wife, his children, and head to Zalia somewhere if they want to stay alive.
And how much does he talk to people around?
I have not seen him in 10 years.
Well, if he's anything like Ste'yn, probably not much.
Do you think that their family all operate like this one?
Genetics involved. I mean, I don't know. It depends. Depends on how similar she is to her parents. Depends on how much of her parents
There's
that
not
she got
many
and her
similarities.
siblings. Well, then maybe the whole town knows. Maybe they're more like me. Who knows?
I
Alright,
honestly couldn't tell you.
well,
But I
okay.
didn't want children caught up in a mess.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that was a good call.
But I don't even know if he believed me, so...
Snow is gonna reach down to Ste'yn and just squeeze her shoulder. as
Well,
she's
on the upside,
clearly
when we
laughing
get
at-
there, we can have a free place of residence.
Don't count on that.
I was
Well, if
gonna
they
say,
aren't there, we could just break in.
Does Ste'yn even know where they live? Hard to break in.
So
if
going
you don't
back
know where you're
to going
breaking
back to
into.
Grazia that's what we're trying to do next. Yes, I'll reach out to Nora tonight. I'll keep that open.
Sounds
and
like
we'll
a
see where we
plan.
are.
Alright, and then when we get to this great tree that we're not supposed to harm, what's the
Don't harm
plan?
it. Don't harm it. We're trying this. There's supposedly some evil, some darkness, some something going on here that we're supposed to be figuring out how to get rid of. I believe was what we agreed to do. Around the Mirror Lake, more specifically, I believe. Just to watch out for the tree.
And just to check in, is everybody ready for another fight to happen in case one should happen that's equally as big as the one before?
I don't think we have much choice.
I'm fine.
Then we move onward.
I mean, we could take an hour.
Do you need one?
Can always use one.
Ste'yn gets an hour no matter what, because she's just sitting here.
Does she technically get a short rest just sitting in the wheelbarrow?
If she's doing nothing else than allowing herself to be pushed like a queen, I will allow a short rest for Ste'yn.
She didn't take any damage, though, does
No,
she?
it doesn't
Get
really do anything.
Back?
I don't
Well,
think
how
so.
about this? We get close enough that we can see what we might be dealing with, and then assess if we need a little break.
With that,
So, onwards to the vantage point.
You reach this area in the swamp where the ground is definitely still dampened, but it does feel a little more full, a little more lush, you might say, vibrant. But I believe Ste'yn noted that it wasn't so much that it was a healthy, vibrant, lively environment, but rather there was a sickly, almost neon twinge among most of the flora that gave her a very sickening, very poisony kind of look to it. Something very unpleasant. In front of you, you do see you're nearing the edge of this enormous lake. The water incredibly reflective, reminding you very much of when you were in the Fey Realm and that river. Not the same kind of silver, but it does seem to reflect very brightly, that you imagine if you were to go up close, you would just kind of see very mirror-like your own reflection. It is surrounded by these enormous trees, all of them towering far above you and casting great shadows from the canopies above. And even so, you can still see that there's definitely a brightness coming from the lake itself. And far across the opposite side, there is one tree that is taller, even more grandiose than the others, that stands out very clearly in your vision. And there it appears, there's the lake there, but then there's also, surrounding it is more of the swampish, forestish, this strange mix of the two. You could go around it to reach the other side where that great ancient tree is. The area that you would take to go around has more normal-sized trees, but many of them, you imagine it could provide more cover, potentially, because you do also get the sense as there are some natural sounds that could be from fauna in the swamp, and then other sounds that may or may not be friendly, but you do get a sense you are not alone in this area of the swamp. So essentially, you kind of have two options, but if your destination were that tree, there is the lake itself. Directly on the opposite side is this enormous ancient tree, and then there are paths you could take to go around the lake. It would definitely take longer, but it would be on sturdy ground anyway.
I vote for walking on the sturdy ground since I still am pushing Ste'yn.
Well, do we want to leave that here in case we were to fight or something? Remember, it's on rental.
You rented this.
Yes.
Gotta make sure
I thought
he
you
gets
stole
his
it. I'm
2
impressed.
gold back.
No, I asked permission and I paid for it.
I'm impressed.
He even talked him down from the original offer.
That I definitely believe.
I thought 13 gold.
We can walk the rest of the way, though. That should be fine.
Well,
Okay.
are we waiting? Like, do we want to rest up or just go on?
And to just go ahead and go if we want to go, that's fine.
I don't see much reason to wait unless somebody has something they need, which is very valid and we can do. But
Well,
Just
Snow,
say so.
you're the one that suggested it. Do you need it or was it something you would just like?
No, we can go.
Alright. So I guess they're heading to the tree.
Okay.
On the sturdy path.
One, are you walking normally or stealthing through the rest of this swamp?
Viola was planning on walking normally. Stealthing didn't come to mind until you asked that question.
Beau would have liked to stealth, but he also just hears those two trudging along.
There's no stealth when Viola's around.
I believe don't both of you have disadvantage on those rolls?
yes,
Disadvantage and -4 for staying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
My next question is, what is your marching order? How are you guys walking?
Beau's good for being up front because he does go an extra 5 feet above everyone. And Ste'yn's got
Probably.
reduced speed.
yeah. So Ste'yn's probably towards the back of the group, keeping
Viola-
an eye out as well.
Viola was helping Ste'yn out of the wheelbarrow, so she'd probably stay next to Ste'yn.
Okay, so Beau up front.
I'm in the middle.
Sandwiched in the middle is Snow. You guys begin walking. You're going around the edge of the lake. The lake itself is never out of view. It is a very large body of water. Everyone give me a perception check, please.
Dirty 20.
Perception, that's a 9.
27.
Beau, you're keeping an eye out for anything that seems particularly unusual. You already know you're in a spot that is, if it's not hostile, it's at least uncaring for random people traveling through. And you already know that there is clearly some kind of danger. You were warned that any one of the Furbolg's scouts who were trying to get close to this area did face some kind of difficulty. So you're keeping your eye out. But really, very often, you find yourself just drawn to look towards the lake itself. Snow as well. You feel yourself drawn to looking towards the lake. There's something about the way that it reflects. There's something about the way that it sits like this, attempting to be very pure in this otherwise very sickly area. There's a lot of like phoniness to this area, but it draws your attention. So you find yourself catching the reflection and, you know, blinking away the after image. It shouldn't be so bright on a relatively cloudy day, but the sun is making its way.
I was
which
just
is making
memorized by his own looks reflected in the
Yeah.
water.
Okay,
You aren't
Ste'yn.
that close. You aren't that close to the water unless you'd like to get that close to the water. But there is space because there are these big trees that are kind of along the shoreline of the water. But if you'd like, you could. So you guys keep kind of looking in that direction. Viola, you are monitoring. You're kind of on alert in that one, you know, Ste'yn is not necessarily at her top game. And you're keeping an eye for things behind you. Nothing's going to sneak up on you guys. You do get a little sense, again, that you are not alone in this place. Something, if not, maybe it's the whole place itself. It's hard to tell. Something feels like it is watching you. Just eyes. Can't tell if they're friendly or uncaring or hostile, but you are not alone in this place. Ste'yn, you know that you are essentially being monitored. Something knows you're here. You're not going to chalk this one up to the fatigue that you're experiencing. Something is here. I need Beau to make me a strength saving throw with disadvantage, please. And Viola, I need you to make me a strength saving throw, just normal, as you notice something seems very unusual about the ground directly behind you and directly in front of you. It, without warning, seems to become bigger and is moving the grass and fauna.
Beau got
Flora.
9.
A 9.
24.
Beau, as you take one more peek towards the lake and the reflection catches in your eye and kind of blink it away, in that moment of blinking, you feel yourself caught up, something wrapping around your legs, stringing you together, binding you and holding you in place, leaving you feeling rather vulnerable as you are restrained by this magically changed flora. Viola, you see behind you. You're able to turn your head in time to see the same thing happening behind you, trying to reach out to you, but you are able to kind of break free from the parts that start to grab you and step away from the rest of it, with Ste'yn and Snow kind of caught up between. So you guys now see Beau is restrained in this very thick looking, almost vine looking flora that seemed to come from the grass.
Viola
you hear
will... Oh, sorry.
you hear a voice from somewhere unseen coming from the direction from your side, from the direction of the trees where they are grouped together. You can hear this kind of hissing voice. Oh, rats. A little sneakier than they seem.
Viola will go and try to help Beau break out of the vines.
As you start to head over, you hear another voice. Stand still. Don't move. There's more where that came from. What are you doing here,
Hello?
travelers?
Viola's not gonna stop moving. She's gonna keep moving.
We are here
Um,
to bring aid and to bring help to rid this place of the curse that seems to have come upon it. We're desiring to not bring harm, but to bring healing.
Hello, I'm Snow. Who are you?
You head over to start breaking him free, and you all notice as the ground surrounding you begins to harden, and every blade of grass seems to become so stiff and sharp. It looks like it is essentially small needles just jabbing directly up from the earth. Viola, as you are moving to help Beau, I need
And we
you
don't
to
see this
take-
person, right? Only
You
hear
do
him.
not currently see them. You can hear them. You can strongly indicate what direction they are speaking from. It's 5 piercing damage as you move towards Beau. You can feel it stabbing into you. It does not have to stop you. You can still make the check.
Yeah, she rolled a dirty 20.
You tear with all of your strength, and it takes effort but you can feel it kind of start to pull and then snap free. It looks like a blade of grass. It just pulls like a rope and then begins to fall away to free Beau. But you are still standing amongst these like pincer needle-like blades of grass.
Is there a reason you're trying to restrain us immediately? Are you trying to protect the tree? Do you not like us here? What's the deal?
This is our home. You're trespassing.
Do we recognize the voice of this snake-like individual?
Give me an intelligence history check.
That's a 9.
It definitely gives you the impression of some kind of lizardy or serpenty of some type creature.
We don't mean to trespass. We're here to try to help. We heard there were things going on here that might need outside assistance.
And you think that you can do anything about it? Some strange little travelers in a place you don't belong.
That's us. So what's the problem?
Why don't you show yourself?
It's not entirely our way. We like to scout more than we like to be seen. We like to see
And
more than
who's
we
the
like to be seen.
hour?
You're clever. Me and my partner here.
Would
Hi.
your partner like to say something?
Would you? There's a moment of silence. And he speaks again. Seems not. What you can do, if you'd like to leave here with your lives one way or another, you could just drop off any unnecessary additional baggage. And by that I mean all of your additional baggage and just turn back around.
I don't think we have time for me to unload all of the baggage I'm carrying right now.
So,
It's a lot.
at the end of the
True.
day, you're just bandits, essentially.
We have claim in our territory that you are walking in.
Yeah,
And if you're going to
bandit
walk
claim,
this way, we have a right to it.
but bandit claim, essentially.
I don't like your tone. This is our territory. If
Well,
you
it's a bit of a
walked in, clearly
letdown,
it's
really, to
a
be
gift for us.
bound by just some bandits. I thought you were more interesting.
Well, you were the one who got bound. Are you going to drop your things and leave, or are you going to keep walking to your doom? Because one way or another, it's either us or it's the Horde.
Ooh. And who are they?
Oh, you might find this interesting. It's a great big horde of midnight beasts.
Oh, well, that actually sounds like exactly what we're here to fix.
Fix? You really think so?
Do you have siblings, by the way?
We have a whole clan.
See, 'cause I recall killing someone that sounded somewhat like you. Would it happen to be like a sister or cousin?
Would be.
Wow.
Have you been in this swamp long?
Wasn't in the swamp.
Then it was an owl.
So you guys don't ever leave.
We don't need to. We have all we need here.
You need Midnight Beasts?
We also have extra, I suppose.
Are you enjoying the presence of the Midnight Beast?
They're obstacles, but these don't move far from the tree.
So,
Well,
So
how
we
about
can-
we remove this obstacle for you, and then we leave. Everybody's happy.
There's a chuckle. Give me a persuasion check. All of you.
I got a 26.
11!
17.
You hear that first voice speak again. If you want to remove the midnight beasts from our territory, you would be doing my people a great service, and we won't choose to take a little toll from you walking through our area. The Azji tribe will thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Who are you for?
We're called Vivere.
I'm Snow. Nice to meet you.
Vivere and Snow, are you their leader?
No.
Absolutely.
Well,
He also laughs. That's not just me.
I go by Ludan of the Azji.
Pleasure to meet you, Ludan of the Azji.
Well, Ludon, can you fix this terrain so we can move on?
There's a pause. And then you see from the direction where you heard that second bit of chuckling, you see a slender figure come out from behind one of the thicker trees there. And you can see a lizard folk coming about, his clawed hands around a very thin, serpentine-looking staff, carved to look so. He briefly looks in your direction, kind of grips the staff a little tighter. The terrain changes back to normal.
So is this
Thank you.
person like the Iwanti or whatever it was that we saw before, or
No,
different?
this one's a lizard
No, these are lizard
essentially.
folk.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then Ludan, the one from the voice that you were speaking to, he also comes out from behind another tree, another one of the thicker trees. He looks very similar. They're dressed in this very loose garb. The colors are very earthy tones that make them very easily matched with their terrain around them. He kind of lazily leans against the tree he was behind as he's looking over the four of you. And he says, if you, Snow and the Vivere, think that you can handle that group of midnight beasts, then be my guest, and I guess we can take your belongings after you die.
But before we
plan.
die, according to you, do you have any magic that you can do to give me back or heal my little boo-boos on my feet that you gave me from that stupid grass thing you did? Pretty please?
Does he?
Maybe some berries?
The one with the staff, he takes out of his pocket this little pouch. And it's a small pouch. He tosses it in your direction. And when you look inside, there are these little juicy looking berries in them.
Viola
so
eats them all.
if you don't want these beasts here, how come you guys didn't take care of them?
It seems more hassle than it's worth. We have plenty of other room in the swamp to move about, and they seem dead set on staying there. You know what they say about midnight beasts, since you are great adventurers. You know why they're gathered, right?
You can refresh us.
Of course, I wouldn't want you to go in forgetting anything. Well, midnight beasts tend to gather around spots that are great sources of magic. So if you do survive, you might find something very interesting in that great trio.
Good to know.
Or to remember, of course. You knew.
Of course. Explains a lot. Or it has explained a lot in the past.
Viola, if you did eat all 10 of those, it's...
You ate
Wait,
10 of
10
them?
of
It's like
them?
it's like a
Wait,
D4
if there's
or
10
something
of them,
like that
she wouldn't have
each.
eaten all 10 of them.
It's
I thought
10
there was going to be
berries.
like 4 or
According to
5.
the spell, it's 10 berries. I was going to do all 10, and then I was like, nah, I'll give it to him.
Alright, well then are they off?
Y'all are heading out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The lizard folk they keep their eyes on you as you start heading the rest of the way around the lake. Ludan a couple of times kind of shakes his head, and then before too long, they disappear into the rest of the swamp.
Beau is gonna tell him thanks for the tip as they're walking away, and he's gonna do a little ward of misfortune to the main guy that was talking to us. It's just a cantrip. It doesn't, there's no save or anything like that. And it really only matters if the person had to make a saving throw, but it's just the spite is what he's going for.
Approved. What does it do? It's just...
So it's a cantrip, and you hiss words of void speech. Choose one creature you see within range. The next time that creature makes a saving throw during the spell's duration, it must roll a d4 and subtract the result from the total of the saving throw. The spell then ends. It only lasts for a minute.
That's fair.
So.
You kind of spitefully turn around and cast it as before they have an opportunity to then go about their business. And few seconds later, you just get this good feeling, Beau. You're just like, somewhere in this swamp, some stupid lizard man definitely just tripped and fell flat on his face because he failed to throw into a real spiky little
Well, the
bush or
spell
something.
does end when that effect happens, and it is a concentration, so he would know if it happened within the 60
and all of a sudden
seconds.
it's like, sucker.
Yep.
Excellent. You guys continue traveling through you travel around the lake, still shining as it does. And you start to realize, actually, give me another perception check.
Oh, I got a
6.
dirty 20 that time.
17.
18.
All but no, I suppose. You guys notice that as you are nearing the final curve around and you are getting towards where the ancient, enormous tree is, this area starts to... It appears here that it's very dark. It is dark in this area. It seems, before you realized it, it went from, it's relatively kind of cloudy with sun poking through, and the sun really starting to kind of win the battle as you've been walking. It's been coming through again, the canopy. At this point, it is very dark here. It's as if the trees around you now, their canopies have reached and are so thick overhead here that it's letting no kind of sunlight through whatsoever, which seems odd. It doesn't look like it ought to be kind of thick enough or tall enough, but it is definitely dark in this area.
Does it feel dark? Like the dark that we've walked into before in different places or experienced?
It doesn't feel like an evil kind of darkness,
Oh.
but it doesn't
Does
feel
it
like a
feel-
natural kind of darkness either.
Does it
Not a
feel like,
darkness, not a darkness, but a
Yeah. The
Yes.
darkness. Kassie.
does it feel like Viola's maybe the only one who can't see right now?
If you go much further, there appears to be, it's more like dim in this area. But if you went much further, you can see where it goes from dim to like you could not see further. You do, however, hear what sounds like low kind of growling from up ahead. But you don't see anything.
Well, let's take a moment to pause. First off, if we go much further, I'm going to be the only one visually impaired. Second off, maybe
Humans.
Claude would like to go up and... Okay, you know what? I'm going to ignore that. But maybe Claude would like to go up and check things out, see exactly what we're up against.
I think it's going to be hard to see if there's probably as dark as the dark itself.
Oh, Claude can make do. Bats
Go
have
for it.
blind sight.
That is pretty good. I was like, does Claude have dark, or can he see in magical darkness?
Nope, doesn't need to.
Doesn't need to. That bat is coming in clutch. I will not even lie to you.
We love Claude.
But if that's what we want to do, Beau or send him.
So you let Claude go free, send him out, and you're looking through his eyes, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Claude goes out, and you watch as he, I guess through his eyes, you can see where it goes from, well, I guess not through his eyes because he just has blind sight in general, but the others can see where he goes from this dimmer darkness into this much purer darkness. And immediately, Beau, you can sense that there are these, so it's a wide space, and you see that the tree, the ancient tree, this enormous tree, is set back a little bit further from the shoreline. You can sense where the trees, those still very large trees, are surrounding the mirror lake, where that bit of gap is, and where there's these expanses of just open ground around the ancient tree. In these large pockets, in these groupings around the tree, and kind of slowly in their own time moving, just kind of meandering about, but still kind of in their own areas, there are groups of these small dog-like beasts that are in the darkness. You can see there's like 3 or 4 of these groupings of them surrounding the tree. Some of them appear to be very close towards the center of the tree. They kind of sniff around there, seem to be very satisfied with whatever, and then they kind of start to move a little bit. but none of them ever seem to leave within a certain range of the tree.
You said 3 or 4 groups. Can you tell how many are in a group?
Probably there's no less than like there's probably between 10 and 15 in each of these groups.
Oh, in each group?
Yes. It is a horde of these little these dog-shaped shadowy creatures that you otherwise cannot see in the dark. But through Claude's vision, his blind sight, you can. Where they are sniffing around, there seems to be some kind of entrance, at least some kind of entrance into what seems to be the trunk of this tree.
And there's nothing that seems to be invisible?
Yes, these creatures
Oh,
are
okay.
otherwise invisible. Part of their ability. They have what is called shadow blend. While they are in darkness, they are invisible. You would not see them had you just walked into this darkness.
But
even if you have sight.
There is a door at the far end.
Some kind of entrance that
Okay.
these shadow creatures were sniffing around.
And they don't seem to be able to go inside.
Intent would be yours to assume, but they do seem satisfied, at least, like sniffing about and then moving along. But they
Alright.
do stay within the vicinity of this giant tree. Enormous tree.
Alright, he'll bring Claude back and then relay the information about what he saw.
That is a lot of them.
That is a lot of them.
How many will?
About 40 or
Nice.
50.
40 or 50 in total. Should we try to lure some of them out? See if we can bring them out of that darkness?
We can try that. But how?
What else are you thinking? Haven't figured that out yet.
Well, what if we did a lure but a timed one? So something triggers over here while we are over closer to that door.
Perhaps.
One thing as well, I realized I forgot to mention. What you had noted that the trees appear to be kind of like over and above you, the canopy's relatively thick, but still like that's how you can tell it's magic darkness of some kind, and that it would not be able to otherwise like block out that much light. Some of these the tree what were your perceptions? You probably don't remember. I can't ask.
18, 17, 20 something, and I don't have Snow's.
It was a
written down.
dirty 20. I think Snow's was like an 8. I think his was still in the single digits.
Thank you.
I could be wrong.
How many had 20 or above?
Beau's the only one that hit
Just
20.
Okay. Beau, you also note that the foliage looks very like rich and thick and healthy, so to speak. Although some of the leaves have also fallen, but none of the leaves that have fallen look like they are otherwise autumnal colors or the seasonal correct
So
term.
there's
I'd
a
have
bunch
to
of
look.
trees that are like interconnected essentially.
Not so much interconnected, but they do make that very thick canopy, and some of those leaves have also fallen. But the leaves that have fallen don't look like those autumnal colors. They also look like summery thick leaves that have also fallen to the grass.
But the branches that are all overlapping with the trees is mainly what I'm thinking.
There are some that are, crisscrossing, and I just wanted to add that bit.
Well, how about this? You make a hut, and then I can try to at least see if we can get through the door. I can use the trees to get above them.
Maybe get a better look, yeah.
Could Claude go through the door?
Was it open or closed, or is it just like a doorway?
It's more like an archway, an otherwise open archway. Very designed, very geometric, not very natural looking.
I mean,
Feels like
scouting
you-
might be good. I don't think going forward, weapons blazing is going to be the answer here, as much as I'd love to cleave some midnight beasts in too. I think we have to be a little smarter about it.
I agree.
So do we want to be sneaky? Do we want a distraction?
Should I take my armor off? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
No,
kidding. I'm just
no,
kidding. I'm just
no.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I swear I'm kidding.
I
I have to
think
tease when I can.
the tent could be good as a fallback.
Alright.
It's something that has to be set up ahead of time, correct? Like it's not an instantaneous thing that can be set up ever.
Correct.
So maybe we could take a few minutes and get the hut set up while we want Beau or Claude to try and scout through that opening and see if there's something to be found there that might give us an edge or any sort of clue. What are we thinking?
Sounds good to me.
Snow sits down on the ground and starts casting the hut ritually.
What are you thinking, Beau?
I mean, I can scout it, yeah.
You seem hesitant.
Hmm?
You seem hesitant.
No, I'm just thinking.
Okay.
About? Care to share?
Routes to get in.
Is there something inside the tree that is useful? Or are we just interested?
The lizard folk hinted that there might be something inside if we can clear it. Knowing
But if we can clear it, though.
They're also
Is it-
attracted to magic, so if the whatever's creating the magic is gone, won't they leave? Unless it's
I think
the tree
maybe.
itself. I don't know.
from what the Fairbolgs told us, I believe the tree itself is likely a strong source of something. But so once again, should we try to maybe lure some of them out? We can have the hut to fall back into if we need, and start seeing what it takes to get rid of them.
We could, test how strong they are.
We could let who test?
We can, if we lured some out, we could test
Yes.
how strong they are.
Yes.
I'm
So I guess
happy
the
to
question
test.
is, how do we? Well, do we make some noise? Do we?
Maybe once the hut's up, we stand near the hut and
Go a little bit, probably go a little bit
Make a
closer,
little-
see if we can attract some attention.
yeah.
Well,
don't want to.
you can hear from outside the hut. If you yelled while we were in it, you might get some of them.
Mm-hmm. That would tell us how many will come if they will come. Maybe if one of us, maybe Beau, you could hide in a tree and throw daggers at them and see.
Yeah, if we don't lure any, I could try throwing from a tree.
Well, I just meant if we do lure some, maybe throwing a dagger at them to see if that does any damage, if it does much damage.
Technically, you can throw daggers at it from inside the hut. As
That
long
is
as you're
true.
inside of it when I cast it.
That is true. And that means I can shoot arrows as well.
Yes, you just can't cast from inside the hut to outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too big a problem.
Alright,
All
so
right, let's-
once the hut is up, are we trying this shout method first?
Shout or, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan to me.
If that doesn't lure any, we can always try. I can send a bolt of something, cast a cantrip towards the tree, and see if we get attention that way.
Don't we not want to harm the tree?
It wouldn't be. I said towards the tree, not at the tree.
Can you even
But
see the
also-
tree from here? Can we even see the tree from
See-
here?
You have
Top of it.
Can you see into magical darkness?
No.
Then no, you
I
cannot.
can't see in any darkness.
You'll-
We'll
That's
try
so
to
Charlie
drag our
Brown of
error
you.
method and see if we can get some attention.
Alright. Well, give it a good shout.
All right. So once
Is
the
the-
hut is cast,
I'm
we step
assuming the
into it,
hut's
and we will make a racket.
So you have this kind of dim, you have this dim light area as you are getting near to these overhanging trees. And then there's that moment where it becomes that magical darkness. Where are you setting the hut? Are you guys still hanging out in that dim?
In the dim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're not
assume
setting
that
up
by
the
the edge of
hut
it?
in the dark. Yeah.
Okay. And then you start a cacophony of noise.
I figured you would
And
just do
such.
thaumaturgy.
Thaumaturgy wouldn't extend past the
Oh.
hut.
Okay, but you can literally just stick your head out.
Yeah.
We'll do that then. That's big brain thoughts. And we'll just call at the beasts with a very
Okay.
loud voice.
Use thaumaturgy and your voice rings out into the darkness. Give me a perception check, all of you.
Got a 15.
16.
24.
Ste'yn, Viola, and Beau, you are able to, when her voice finally peters out, you guys are able to hear some kind of movement in that darkness as you're listening intently because you can't see. But whatever it is does not broach the darkness. It does appear to, in short order, the sounds go back. It almost sounds like, it sounds very much like footsteps that then go back and then disappear, get quiet again. So something seems to have maybe approached to just curious, but it was not interesting enough to pull it from the vicinity.
Right. Maybe we have to go in.
Or you could try throwing something in.
What
Shooting
if
something
we
in,
caused a fire?
And how
But
would
what
you
if it
stop
burns
it
down
from
the
burning
tree?
Well, we can. It's a big tree. You'll have some time.
Let's put that on the back burner for now.
Back better. I like that.
You're welcome.
But
Inspiration.
shooting into the dark might be the next idea then. And if we wound one of them, they'll come running.
Take a shot in the
I
dark.
can do that.
Beau would just throw a
Okay.
dagger so that way we're not using any physical resources. You only have so many shots.
You ruin all the fun.
I mean, if you want to waste your crossbow bolts. He has an
First,
endless
you're
supply of
rationing out
psionic
logic.
dice. I mean, psionic daggers. There, just throw one in there.
Blindly throwing
Yeah.
the dagger.
He'll use steady aim to help him out a little bit, but
You aim for something in the dark.
yeah, just hopefully hit something.
Okay. So when you're aiming for something you cannot see, that's disadvantage, right?
But with steady aim, it would become
Makes it regular.
Regular. Oh, he only got a 10 that attempt.
Yeah, it goes. I mean, you don't imagine.
Alright, well, we got nothing
You'll
else
hear
to do,
anything.
so he's gonna do it again.
Go for it.
Okay, we're getting diminishing returns. That's a 9. Alright, well, third time.
Maybe throw a rock or something. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. The third
Is
time
there
is
a rock or a large stick
He
nearby?
got a 15 that time.
15. Yeah, you hear a small kind of yelping sound, very, very canine-like. What's the damage?
6.
Fantastic. You hear a small yelp, a little growl, but it sounds like out there, like whatever that near the full range of your dagger potentially.
Well, it could take a long time, but in theory, we could just attack it from the trees.
I mean, we
Beats
could
this.
just
Beau's gonna walk out of the hut and then climb a tree, and then from that tree, go towards a tree that's in the dark part, see what he can make out from there.
Okay.
He's gonna
So
tell
you-
them that that's his plan. He's not doing it silently.
So you climb up one of the trees,
hmm
and you're heading towards the edge of where it reaches that magical darkness
it's-
again.
Taking one of the branches over to like another tree that would be in the dark.
The branches, the further you go, like these are tall trees, but they're not as thick and tall as the ones that are near the lake. The branches, the further in they go, before they're going to reach another tree's branches, they're going to be very thin. They're not going to necessarily hold you that far out.
All right, we'll run and jump.
That is a
Acrobatics.
yes, but it's going to be a disadvantage. Those are flimsy and distant.
All right, so that would be a 17.
Okay. You give yourself a little bit of room. Thankfully, with Spider Climb, you don't have to worry too much about footing and a little extra oomph, and you leap. The tree definitely, as you take hold and get yourself on there, it is bouncing with your weight, but it's kind of, you're able to get to a spot that will hold you. So you're on another one of the trees.
Okay, can he make out anything from where he is?
Are you still in the? There's nothing in the
Well, he
dim.
was-
It's all in the dark.
Yeah, I know. He was jumping into the dark, so that's why I'm asking if he can see anything now that he's over there.
Not if you can't see in magical darkness.
Okay, so it's inside of it as well.
Oh yeah,
I
if
didn't
you
know if
went
it
into
was.
the darkness,
I didn't know
is-
if it was like a veil between the two of them,
Mhm.
or if it was
Gotcha.
once you're in there. So that's what he was also
it is
testing.
magical darkness.
Why did we decide to not have Claude investigate inside the tree?
Beau didn't want Claude to get hurt.
That is the most precious thing Beau has ever said.
He hasn't said it.
Nice.
I said it. Beau's
He
up there.
hasn't.
That's the most precious thought Beau has ever had.
Ste'yn would like to try dispelling the magical darkness with Dispel Magic. Choose one creature, object, or magical effect within range. Any ongoing spell of level 3 or lower on the target ends, and the target would be the darkness itself, the magical effect of that. If it's
And what's-
higher, if it's level 4 or higher, then I make an ability check. The DC is 10 plus the spell's level to see if I can do it.
You cast it. What's the range? It's just. Does it have
So
a
it has
range?
so the Dispel Magic, I can target an effect within 120 feet of me, and then that whole effect, if it's the spell works, drops. It's dispelled.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm dispelling a range of it unless there's multiple points where it's coming from, and each of those would be its own effect. It'd be the entire effect.
What you see is where Beau. You can see Beau for a moment, and there appears, in that same way as if a sunbeam breaking through a storm cloud, you see this jet of just sunlight. It's not anything special. It's not whatever. It's just sunlight, as you had seen from the sun breaking through the clouds earlier on your walk. This jet of sunlight. In a moment, again, you see the light seems to just collapse, and that area is refilled with this darkness, and you can no longer see Beau. But it appears to have dispelled it for some amount of time.
So, new plan. Beau's gonna bring back Claude, and then use his bonus action to look through Claude's eyes and have his senses. Does he see a path for himself from where he is to the tree in general?
Like one clear path?
Yeah, like a way, like if he had to go down the tree, like is there a way that he could like circumvent them and get to the tree?
He could find a way, but what you notice as you look through Claude's eyes is that each one of these groups are just kind of moving. They're constantly moving. So
Well, they're moving in like a pattern.
not a specific pattern, no.
They just are completely
They just
sporadic.
seem to stay.
They don't like go to a certain point and then turn around like they were doing with the doorway.
Not exactly. They just seem to all stay within the vicinity of the tree. But he could get to the tree. You could maneuver around them if you're just if he's mindful, he could get around them. He's also can
very
fly.
mindful.
Very
Well, no, I'm
mindful.
thinking about Beau getting to them, not Claude.
Yeah, again, if you're mindful, you could get around them.
Okay.
If you were sneaky enough, but also you can't just walk past them. They might see you.
Yeah,
Or would
so
see
this
you.
is what he's going to do. He's going to have Claude kind of like perch in his hand or something. Oh, actually on his shoulder. He's going to have Claude perch through his shoulder because it's a bonus action to see through his eyes and to hear through his ears. But it doesn't mean that he can't walk, and it doesn't mean he doesn't have actions because it's just a bonus action to do that. So he's going to use his sight to guide Beau's body as he maneuvers down the tree and stealths towards the other tree.
Towards another tree.
Towards
or
the
towards
big
the
tree.
ancient.
The big tree.
So I will make it super duper clear then. It would be like walking in a big open area. These are not like
Well, then
they're
where
not
are the
like
trees?
all creatures are looking to the left and so you can walk behind them. They're scattered all about, looking in all directions. They just won't leave the vicinity of the tree.
And
They're
how
trying to
far
just
away
walk
is it?
through. You're some ways out. I mean, you could try to
Well-
run it. It's just it would be very difficult to not be spotted. It'd be like trying to stealth in broad daylight with a bunch of people looking at you.
I realize
I'm gonna
Beau.
drag you guys.
Can we retroactively say that Beau set up a mind link? 'Cause I didn't think about that till now.
I'm okay with it. You can go ahead and do it.
We have it for
I'll be
1
right back.
hour. All right, well, if that's the distance it is and they're on that kind of route, then he's going to tell him what his plan is. I guess he'll tell it to Ste'yn and ask her to relay it in case there are any concerns. So that way he's not saying it 3 times.
She will relay the plan.
Well, why don't you just send Claude through to see if it's even worth it for you to run over there?
I have my reasons.
So?
Does it sound...
I think we need to try something. I think we're sitting here not making any progress.
Yeah.
So if we're not doing this, we need to do something different.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna carefully go down the tree, and then he's gonna stealth as long as he can keep it up.
Give me a stealth check with disadvantage.
That one got a 4.
Dice jail.
And this one got a 4 too.
No!
Oh wait, he has psionic dice. Okay, so that bumps up to a 14.
You come down the tree and you're using Claude's senses to help and start dashing to get around, and you start hearing
Well, he
from
wasn't
one
dashing, he was stealthing.
you start sneaking your way without much, and before long there is you get some distance.
Okay,
Maybe a
can you
quarter
mark
way.
it? Can you mark on the map? Show me
It's
where.
not- It's not
Show me where
super
it is.
exact. It's not super exact.
Well, you said some to, like right here?
Like a quarter way, so maybe over here-ish, if you were starting back here. That's probably a third, and that's also fine. But
Okay, sounds good. It's only 50, so her uses walking movement, and then her uses action to dash, so that would get him the 70 feet to get to the base of it and up some.
okay. There's one group of these dog-like creatures that start barking, growling, and it sets off this chain of barking, growling, vicious, spitting midnight mastiffs that are now surrounding the tree, clawing to try and get to you. Are you inside or outside? Or you're just kind of within that little
I mean, he
arch?
wasn't aiming for the arch specifically. He just wanted to get to the tree so he could be up, and then he was gonna work his way to the arch afterwards.
Yeah, you can get up. Yeah, and you get a sense that they are potentially going to try and climb as well. As best as a dog with very, well, at least the outline of what looks like a very large dog could try and climb with large dog claws. But you have their attention. At least you have a good group of their attention. Before too long, others start to kind of meander away, but not too far. You definitely have a good group.
Oh
of
man, he should have brought all the rope, and we could have zip-lined.
Viola could shoot it across, except she can't see anything.
I don't hate that idea at all. I wish you had done it.
I made it to the tree. They aren't happy.
You guys, you heard the dogs going off immediately.
Do you want to try going inside?
Yes, I'll do that now. So he will head towards, and he'll be on the top of the archway, and then he will walk inwards that way, being on the top of it.
You start walking inwards and into the innards of this enormous tree. And you note that it is in here. This feels very Veil-like. As you're leaving this magical darkness, it is now just a very plain standard darkness. What you see inside, the first thing you notice is that it is damp, right? It feels very humid in there, as if it's drawing moisture from the lake itself. There's also a kind of twinge feeling on your skin, very uncomfortable, almost stinging. Reminds you very much of I think you had a brief acid encounter while you were walking. And you do spot, as you come around the corner and you're able to start to step along that inner wall, the bark inside of the walls looks like it is kind of smoothed over with this sheen. And the moment you put your foot onto the bark of the inside of the wall, before you necessarily lose your footing, you do feel it slip. I'll say you still have a hold of where you were, but that does not feel like something you could necessarily just spider climb across. It feels like a slick surface.
Is there anything in the room?
Covered.
Or is he not in a room yet?
No, so There does not appear to be very much. How far can he see?
60 feet.
60 feet in darkness? Okay. It does seem to extend beyond that. This is a cavernous, almost like it's bigger on the inside. No, it is a cavernous, very, very large tree. It goes up out of your sight, and but you can see the ground, obviously. That also does seem to kind of dip a bit. Where you are, though, you just see dark, dirt-packed ground. You see some roots coming up below. You can see up along the bark, again, that sheen that's covering all this inside. No, so that's what you can see for now.
All right, and have the dogs followed him in up to this point, or have they stopped?
They have not. They have not.
All right, well then he's going to tell them that the dogs have stopped, and that he's inside. Do we want to come up with a way of getting everyone in here?
We could try.
Right, and do you have any thoughts?
Is there something in there for all of us to do?
Viola asks Beau if it's dark in there.
It's actually light.
Do you see anything in the tree?
I see basically a big cave.
Is there anything useful in the cave? Because I could get everyone in there, but I don't really want to waste my magic on that if it's not helpful.
Well, from what I can tell, which is only 60 feet, it's not. I don't have the intel to tell you that. But clearly they want something from in here.
Can you go further in?
If we were to distract the dogs to one side, would Ste'yn or I be able to run in with you so you're not moving forward on your own just in case?
Well, they are angry. I might be able to move them to a direction if I keep their attention.
Well, that's what I was thinking. If Ste'yn's going to go in there, I could distract him, because I kind of have a sense that they're probably not going to move too far away from this
Well,
magical...
I would stay on the tree, and I would just walk away from the archway.
Oh.
They'd follow me. If you distract on
Okay.
the outside, it'll be hard for you to get inside.
Well, I was thinking if one of us was distracting, then the other one going.
Do it.
Whatever it is we want to do, we'll do it. Let's just...
Beau, make a distraction.
Beau's gonna attempt to do a distraction.
What would you like to do, Beau?
Before you make a distraction, throw something straight out from the archway so that those who can't see where the archway is will have a straight line to it.
Well, none of you will
Just
see where
none
it
of
is.
us.
So make a straight line to it for us.
So, if you throw something that reaches out of the darkness, we know exactly where that thing came from and can run right towards it.
I like to talk myself up as much as the next person, but I can't throw something like that.
Can you have Claude guide us?
Well, you won't be able to see him in there.
Can we
He
hold
can
on to his
grab
little
you with
leg?
his little feet and pull you through. Just turn you in the right direction. You follow the tugs on your finger.
Or can you tell us whether or not we're going the right direction based off of seeing through Claude, if he is with us?
Probably can't do that and make a distraction at the same time. So,
At least tell us if we're in the right spot and facing the right direction before we go.
How about this? If you give me some time, I can make a little servant to walk you back, but it's kind of slow.
Glove service.
Or I could just shout what direction to go to.
that works. Let's do that. It's faster.
Just, let's go.
Yep.
All right, so you were first try to distract the dogs. I don't know what he would need to
do
roll.
what, or go where, or do... What are you trying to... Where
so
are you
he's
trying to get them to go?
Well, he's just trying to get their attention, and he's just gonna walk to the one of the sides of the tree. So probably the one that would be the farthest away.
So
since
he's
they'll
coming
be
back
coming-
outside to get their attention and...
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And kind of,
Um,
he'll ring his bell.
you can ring your bell, and that's easily gets their attention. You come back out. Really, you come back out, and the ones who have been like sniffing around at the front of the tree see you immediately, and you know because you start hearing the barking, and it is ravenous and it is angry, and where you go you hear it following. And very shortly after, just like before, the cacophony spreads through the horde and they start moving towards you, following you around the trunk. So it's some 40 or 50 of these mastiff sized beasts barking and clawing at this tree to get at you, Beau.
All right, yeah, and then he'll walk them out, and then he'll leave, because he's just walking in a circle. He doesn't necessarily need to see, because he knows what's it. I'll have Claude to, like, do a quick check once he knows the direction. He'll leave Claude in front of the entrance of it, so that way he has a straight line of sight going away from it, and then he'll mind link whoever's leading the charge.
To make a mad dash.
All right, Ste'yn.
All right, we're going.
You can fly. Keep that in mind, as it
If I
might
need-
be helpful.
If it comes to that, I will.
Okay, let's go.
All right, we're running for it.
Okay. We're not stealthing. We are just booking it.
Ste'yn does not have a good chance of stealthing successfully
Yeah.
today.
You guys are using what to guide you again? To where
I
the
mean,
entrance
Beau
is?
is mind linking whoever's leading their run. Probably not staying in this case because she's slower than the rest of them right now. But so either it didn't sound like Snow is coming to him, so he's going to be sending it to Viola.
Okay. And so using Beau's guidance through Claude about where to run, they're going to book it together.
Yes.
I love this for you. Okay. I don't know if you guys are holding hands or just booking it together, but you run. You're able to make it past blindly. You're able to make it past any bits that might be sticking up. You can hear to your side where it is just an absolute uproar of these vicious sounding dogs. Before they can really like sniff you out and consider something else is happening, you find yourselves barreling forward from an absolute pitch blackness into a slightly less pitch blackness.
So
You find
Viola
yourself
just keeps
entering-
running and running because nothing has changed for her.
Ste'yn will stop you.
You find yourselves on different feeling ground here, where the earth feels very compact from some kind of dampness, and you can see some of the tree knots, the root knots popping up a bit.
Snow followed, but not on foot. He polymorphed himself into a bat.
So you make it into the heart of this enormous tree. It is
Into
ancient.
the Great Deku Tree.
You are in the Great Deku Tree now.
And Beau will double back to meet up with them once they
Okay.
let him know that they're in.
Mm-hmm. And the sounds of the mastiffs follows right up to the point of the entrance of the tree. Beau slips inside, and they are ravenous, barking at the front of the tree where they see you all standing there. And yet, after a moment, you almost seem to bore them. They stay, they do their little sniff around, and then the hordes and the little group start to spread, continuing this little dance around the ancient tree. You guys are inside.
Does Viola have
Kinda
her
gives-
coin glowing?
Sure.
She keeps it in her crown, so when they got in there, she would have asked Ste'yn to.
Should have had a V8.
It looks relatively dull in here, and then it's only a few moments of peace and calm before. Give me a perception check, please.
Another dirty
I mean, what?
20.
18.
13.
Dirty 20.
As you guys catch your breath for a moment, kind of get your bearings, we get Viola some light, and Snow is peeking about. Snow, you start to do a kind of loop around, and you can see along one of the far walls to the side, the opposite side of where Beau had been, you see this little crevice. Could probably only fit one person at a time. It seems to dip, and it's very shadowy down there, but you know that there is space down there along some kind of wedged area there. you continue looking about. It appears to be very plain, except that the ground is tilting away from where you are, down towards an area. The opposite side of the tree is just notably at a tilt after a point. Come looping back. By the time you start looping your way back, the ground starts to look different. It's just not giving you that look the same way it had a moment ago. The other three, well, you sense as you're getting your bearings, and Viola now has her light, the ground starts to feel different. This packed earth that is kind of damp a bit starts to get a bit darker, a little more damp, and it starts to sting a bit. For those of you who got that dirty 20, you hear for just a moment as if you're just constantly being watched. Like, people really seem to care what you guys are doing. You hear this little bit of a snicker, and the ground is moist. Wherever this dirt is, it is moist. It also stings like the dickens. For those of you on the ground this first time, please give me a dexterity saving throw.
A 12.
8.
10.
That will be 8 points of acid damage, but halved for Beau and Ste'yn. As you can kind of just jump out of the way where one puddle starts to become very prominent, and then starts to grow. These puddles of this very toxic-y looking, like almost oily looking water is coming up. Kind of reminds you of those puddles you had seen further out, just a little bit further out in the swamp. And they are steadily growing.
Ste'yn's gonna cast resistance on herself for resistance against acid damage.
All right, what are we doing?
Do I see anything else of note as I'm flying around? Is there anything to investigate or look at?
You probably heard that snicker as well, but
Could I
it's
tell where
like
it was coming from?
like
Up.
up, like way up.
I go 60 feet up.
What is your HP with, or what is your AC when you are polymorphed as a bat?
Even lower than what it normally is, amazingly.
Oh.
12.
You start flying upwards, and you feel something sharp kind of pierce your side.
Who shoots a bat? That's just mean.
Isn't it? Freaking
Yeah, this is
rude.
why Beau didn't send Claude.
It all makes sense now. It's going to be 6 piercing damage plus an additional 5 acid damage as something sharp pierces you.
Alright, polymorph drops, and so do I.
I mean, Beau can just cast Featherfall.
And I think we should carry on. There's that crevice over. And... Oh,
Yeah,
we didn't
Beau's
see
gonna
that
just
just now.
start running ahead.
Towards that little
follows.
area. Okay.
Yep.
You start making your way. You dash your... It's at this point, it's still relatively easy to kind of jump over where these little pools are forming of this acid. You make your way to the little crevice and realize this part is much more sturdy. It's not just dirt here. It looks like stone that could be built into the tree bark. And you are able to go, but it would be one by one. What are your marching orders?
Well, Beau's the fastest, so I assume he's in the front.
I'm guessing probably Viola and then Ste'yn, because I don't know. Ste'yn, is your
Ste'yn
movement
will-
impeded at all?
Snow is
She's still slow.
yeah.
And she's got resistance to acid right now, so she'll try to usher people through as we're getting across the acid stuff.
So Viola would definitely be after Beau. And then sounds like Snow and then Ste'yn.
You guys squeeze your way in and you start heading down. It appears to be these carved in steps of stone that are bringing you curling and curving down the length of the tree, all around its diameter. Your legs start to get a little bit tired of just the constant maintaining of pace and just downward motion. When you finally think you're reaching some kind of bottom, the air has gotten more humid. You can see there are little splatters along some of the steps to be mindful of that look like more of that sheen, more of that acid. And finally, the stairs let up. It looks like you're in this little bit of almost like a foyer kind of area, but all of it stone. The roof of it seems like it's this stone, but you can kind of see where there's still some earth that kind of like packed in between the stones. To the left, it looks like there's some kind of protrusion. Kind of looks like a small chamber off to the side. To the right, it goes further. You kind of can't see. It looks like it turns and goes out of sight a little bit. And then maybe another 40 feet ahead of you, there is another small kind of doorway. There's no door, just an archway. Through there, and it is still very dark, so the 60 feet you can see through, it is more stone. There's a very heavy feeling from over there, and you can still see just splashes on the ground of that sheen-covered liquid. It is relatively quiet, but give me a perception check.
Another dirty 20.
22.
That's a 10.
Well,
For all of you, it's pretty clear there's some kind of steady sound. It's slow. It almost sounds like almost like a kind of large breath. Just a steady inhale, a steady exhale. And it kind of goes with, there's a bit of movement of the air, but otherwise the air is very stale. You note that around you there are, in the stonework, there's like various looking kind of carvings. It doesn't look so much like letters as it does like maybe imagery of some kind, almost like hieroglyphic, but not in any kind of known language. And you can't tell what else is kind of further in, except that sound.
Well, should we
Snow's
go
gonna
look?
examine the art on the wall.
As Snow's taking a quick peek and you guys decide, what you see looks like a lot of humanoid shapes surrounding one very large kind of like oval kind of shape. The oval shape itself has a lot of little divots very evenly spaced around it, and it, as it's carved, it kind of looks like it shines. You do see more of that sheen on there too, as if to touch it might be a bad idea, or you'd want to clean it before you touched it. But all of the different artwork all seems to depict a group of humanoids or a group of things, and they're all surrounding this kind of almost abstract looking ovular shape. Give me a religion.
18.
Well, it looks very worship-like. It looks like but it's not a religion that you recognize. It's certainly not one that you had learned. Just the form of it looks like it would belong. You do note that within one of these groupings of art, looks a little different than the others. It also maybe looks a little bit newer than the others, and someone took the time to create, but that one has, within its worship-looking features, one symbol does look familiar. It reminds you very much of one of those pendants you saw back in Grazie Minel.
Snow relays that to the others.
So do we want to move on?
So,
Yep.
I think we keep moving.
Like a plan to me.
You head to the entrance, or to this archway, and you can see clearer inside. This room, it's not brightly lit, but this does appear to have some still glowing torches kind of set oddly evenly for being a very cavern-looking, expansive space, but it is enormous. Just all about, you see where the walls are. You see there are some divots in the walls that looks like people could stand there. And then in the center, not the center, along the opposite wall of you, far off, there appears to be, among all of these they're like boulder looking things along some of the walls too, And then there's one additional large entity, something, that when you look closely enough, you can see something on it rising, dropping very steadily. Still a little dim, but it doesn't take you too long as your eyes adjust with the light from the torches that there is a large body. It has two visible, these large arms that are connected by this kind of winged-like webbing. The light from the torches glimmers off of some dark-looking scales, and you can see a large snout that is steadily lifting its head. Another poof of that outward breath, steady opening of its maw. Enormous, sharp teeth, very clear against the black scales along it. Its eyes kind of lazily open. Doesn't seem to spot you immediately, but when it opens its mouth all the way, you hear a deep, vibrating voice that continues as its neck lifts. Its arms start to lift it up onto 4 legs. Who is disturbing Lilaric in my lair? As a black dragon lifts up to look at the 4 of you. I think that's a pretty splendid place to end tonight's session. Thank you from all of us here at Tales from the Catacombs. Catch up and recapture your favorite moments by subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you journeying with us to bring clean content to the world of tabletop RPGs. A particularly huge thanks to my players whose links are in the description below. Please take a moment to follow these tremendous people and their exciting endeavors. David, who plays the wily Beau, Catherine, who plays the queenly Ste'yn, Kassie, who plays our exciting Viola, and Josh, who plays our artistic Demure Snow. And I am Brenna, your storyteller for this adventure. And we will see you back here next time with a dragon. I'm excited. Safe travels until we meet again.